This preview video is based on an article by Eurogamer's deputy news editor Ed Nightingale. To read his full preview piece, check out the link in the video description below. During Ed's hands-on demo of Monster Hunter Wilds at this year's Gamescom, he found himself on the hunt for a Chatacabra, a sort of lizard frog thing with an imposing tongue. Riding on the back of his Sakrat bird-like mount that's whisking him off in pursuit of his prey, he discovers that he's not alone. He's got 3 fellow hunters by his side, but it turns out they're not real players. SOS calls aren't new to Monster Hunter, but they're now readily accessible with the flick of the radial menu, and if nobody online returns the call, 3 slots will be filled by NPCs to replicate the feel of cooperative multiplayer while still playing solo, along with your cute Palico cat companion, of course. It means that in Monster Hunter Wilds, you're never truly alone. Unless, of course, you wanna be. The inclusion of NPC teammates feels like just one of many additions to this latest series entry that pitches it as the most approachable, beginner-friendly effort yet. That's been a fairly long-running trend for the series. Generally, each new Monster Hunter game eschews the clunkiness of the last in an effort to expand the series' audience, but it is especially true of Wilds. Back to Ed's playthrough though, and the Chatacabra battle is just a taste, as the second part of the demo is a proper hunt, this time for a Doshaguma, I think that's how it's pronounced, which is a huge bear-like creature with massive claws. Before setting off, Ed entered a tent to choose 2 different weapons and cook up some mouth-watering steaks to buff up his hunter for the journey. Then, with a quick tap on the D-pad, his Sakrat sweeps him up and automatically sniffs out his target as he seamlessly exits the sizable camp area, complete with cooking cats, but sadly no Dango song. And then he emerges out into the desert.
Wow, what a view! Sure are a lot of monsters there. That alpha is our target. The quest will begin once you've dealt enough damage to it.
Got it.
While riding, Ed was easily able to switch weapons, down a potion, and prepare for the battle to come whilst on the chase. In previous games, much of this Sakrat activity was done back at camp. Now you can switch loadouts practically on the fly, cook meals anywhere, and drink health-restoring potions while riding a mount out of danger. The Sakrat streamlined so much preamble, ensuring that you're always on the move and always hunting. What's more, restoring health is simply a quick flick of the radial menu to use an optimal potion, another nice tweak that trims back on the fiddly cycling through menus. Also new in Wilds is that some monsters gather in packs and must be separated from the herd. The Doshaguma is one such beast, and naturally this separation is done by flinging dung. The scent is enough to put off the herd so you can begin chasing its leader, with your own action beginning the subsequent quest, rather than chatter back at the camp.
Looks like it's moving to a new area!
This brings us to combat, which has been similarly streamlined. Wounds can be inflicted on monsters organically by simply targeting the same points in succession, anywhere on its body, as if naturally hunting. Then, once a wound appears, focus mode can be engaged to automatically target weak points. Ed's primary weapon choice was the bow, so frequently shooting at the Doshaguma's head caused a wound to appear. Then, by holding the right bumper, the wound was automatically targeted with homing arrows for massive damage. What's more, bow players can fire a tracer at any part of the body and use this for focus attacks too, with additional effect. Focus mode aside, the controls felt familiar after time with Monster Hunter Worlds and Monster Hunter Rise, and Ed easily slipped back into a comforting rhythm as he shot a storm of arrows and performed last-minute dodges. It all felt swift and elegant where before it's been clunky, and manoeuvring on the Sacrat helps to smooth over the whole experience. For newcomers, the game features a quiz to help determine the type of weapon that's most appealing, though Ed suspects that there's still a fairly high barrier to entry for absolute beginners. Ed, for instance, easily switched while mounted to the insect glaive weapon to perform some of the new pole dancing moves, and by his own admission, his skill level dropped considerably. There are also plenty of interactions between monsters. While hunting the Doshaguma, it was at one point squeezed by a sandworm like Balahara, and another Chattacabra made an appearance too. More frightening was the region's apex monster, the lightning dragon Rei Dao, who not only appeared to strike Ed's own prey, but also brought with it a storm to darken the skies and sweep up the sand. Between weather effects, giant monsters, and herds of beasts on screen, the experience is highly dynamic and there is plenty to keep track of, plus plenty for the hardware to keep up with too. Just about. Handily, players are accompanied by the Palico cat companions who once more can be customised. Ed's little black fluffy guy even came with an adorable moustache. Palico are handy in battle, distracting foes and providing healing, and this time their intelligence has been dialed up to bolster their usefulness, yet another quality of life improvement. Though Capcom won't describe the game as open world, it is seamless as you move from hub area to exploration. This particular desert area that Ed hunted in was far larger than those in Rise, and more sprawling too, though the Sacrat makes navigation a breeze as it charges across the desert and leaps across rocky outcrops. Character models are also beautifully detailed, from the gnashing teeth of monsters to the hair and armour of NPCs. That's especially apparent in cutscenes. The first part of the demo focused on the story as Ed's character and a team of hunters aimed to assist a village ravaged by monsters. This led to a largely on-rails chase sequence across the sand, Sacrats outrunning a herd of rampaging sandworms that were whipping up dust. It was a visually impressive sequence, but ultimately a shallow, flashy slice of action. It's clear Capcom is looking to entice a broader audience here, but Monster Hunter remains at its best with agency in the hands of players. For the most part, Monster Hunter Wilds strikes a balance between approachability and depth of combat. It offers a familiar thrill of the hunt, of player customization, because the new armors look awesome, and of extravagant combat, but with a fresh world ripe for a bit of co-op action, even if that's just with NPCs. Coupled with some of those smart tweaks to streamline the experience and put as much focus as possible on the action rather than fiddly menus, and there's a good chance that this one will successfully lure in a new audience of hunters. Thanks so much for checking out this Monster Hunter Wilds preview video. As mentioned before, if you'd like to read Ed's full preview, please follow the link in the video description below. Do like this video if you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games, and why not catch up on one of our other previews that are on screen and clickable right now. Goodbye.